Okay, hi, I'm here with Stephany Barry today. And Stephany, would you like to take a minute and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your career field.
Sure. My name is Dr. Stepheny Barry. I am a trauma and critical care surgeon at the University of Kansas Health System. I am kind of a jack of all trades. I take care of a little bit of everything. So trauma can include anything from falls to car wrecks to gunshot wounds to assault, um, and a little bit of everything in between. I also do emergency general surgery. So I also take care of people with appendicitis or gallbladder disease or um, perforations of their intestines or pancreatitis. So kind of a wide range of things that I help take care of.
Great, thank you. That's really interesting. Sounds like you've got a busy job.
It can be.
So, how did you get to where you are now?
So it's a pretty long road. I obviously graduated high school and then I went to 4 years of undergraduate and got my degree in biology. I then went to medical school at University of Kansas, and that's a 4-year program. I then did a surgical residency, so a general surgery residency, which is 5 years, and I trained at Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit, Michigan. And then I did a 2-year trauma and critical care fellowship at the University of Tennessee at Memphis.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you put in a lot of time to get
Yeah, so
there.
the education process is long. It's
It's
worth it, but
long.
it's long.
But it's long, yeah, it sounds like it. So where are you wanting your career to go in the future?
That's an interesting question. I am for so long of my so for such a big portion of my life, I've been on this what feels like a hamster wheel of someone else telling me what I needed to do. So you get good grades in high school so you can get into a good college, and then you go to college and get good grades there so you can get into medical school, and you go to medical school so you can get a good residency, and on and on. And then you get your job and you get a leadership position. So in addition to being a trauma surgeon, I'm the trauma medical director, which means I kind of oversee all things as it relates to the trauma program here at our institution. In addition to that, I am the program director for our critical care fellowship that we recently started. So you get a leadership position, and then people start asking you, what do you want to do? And you start to think yourself, well, gosh, I don't really know. Usually someone's telling me what I'm supposed to do. So I'm kind of at that point in my career where I'm deciding I'm pretty actually happy with where things are right now, and I don't have any huge aspirations for change at this point. But there are a lot of opportunities, so I could take education to a new level and head down that pathway and look at becoming a dean of a medical school or something like that. But I could also stay on the clinical side of things and look towards becoming a division head or department chair. And I guess the other thing I could do is think about administration. So, working towards becoming more involved in the leadership aspect of the health system, whether that be, through quality avenues or different ways.
Okay, very good. So in thinking about your daily work, what is your favorite part of your job?
So my favorite part of my job is that it's different every day. I think that that's something that's really unique to my chosen field. Flexibility is key. So I come in every week is something different. I wear a different hat every week, and I also come in and I take care of emergencies, and so I have to be flexible and ready to go at a second's notice. And so that's one of my favorite things. I think that probably um, is one of the things that potentially drives some people away. Some people like structure and like to know what's going to happen and that sort of thing. But I kind of thrive in that type of chaotic and an exciting environment.
That's good you like that with your job, it sounds like. So what is the least favorite part of your job?
Well, I see some pretty bad tragedies,
Mm.
and so having difficult discussions with family members, I think is probably the least favorite part of my job. I think it's a really important part of what I do, but it certainly is not. It's not an easy thing to let someone know that their loved one, has injuries that are not survivable.
Yeah, that would be really tough, I would think.
It's even harder this time of year. Never as easy, but
Oh,
the
I bet.
holidays the holidays certainly make that a more challenging time of year.
Oh, definitely, definitely, because that's the last thing you want to have to do at the holidays.
Right, right.
So what was the first job that you had, doctor?
So my first job, let me think back, I was 14 years old
Uh-huh.
and I bussed tables at a truck stop. My mom worked at a hotel and there was an attached restaurant and I bussed tables at that restaurant.
What did you learn from that?
Well, I mean, I learned hard work pays off. So it's not an easy job and it's not a glamorous job. But I started learning about money and how to handle it, and that if I wanted to have things that were going to be easier to come to me, that probably staying in school and education was the way to go.
Right.
So that was a starting position and not a long-term position.
And you took that to the extra level
I
of
took
going
that to
to
right. I'm going to go to all of the school.
exactly.
My parents joked that I think I was almost 30 by the time I got my first quote unquote real
Real
job. So, I
job.
mean, I had several jobs. I worked every summer in high school and I worked every summer in college. And I had a lot of different jobs
Right.
leading up to this. But when I got my first,
First
real doctor job with Dr. Pay was in my early 30s.
early 30s, I'm sure. That's funny. You don't necessarily think of it lasting that long, taking that long to get from school
Yeah,
to a job, but in your
yeah.
field, for sure. So, what is your definition of success?
I think it's really important. That's a really important question because I think defining success for yourself makes it so much easier for you to recognize when you found it. I'm working on finding success. For me, is currently working on figuring out how to balance all of the things that I'm trying to do. So I am a surgeon and I love being a surgeon. It's obviously taken me a long time to get here, but I'm also a wife and I'm a mother, and I'm trying to figure out how to make sure that all of those kind of things stay together. I have a 5-year-old who, um, is in the please don't go to work phase of life. And I work a lot. And so, trying to make sure that I'm figuring out how to make sure I spend quality time at home in addition to being a good physician and a good leader. Those are all things that I use to define success.
Oh, great, great. And what can students do now to help them prepare for a job in medicine?
So I think that it's so different than it was when I went through. There were I think it was probably easier. I see the applications come through for medical students and residents and think to myself, man, I probably wouldn't be able to do it now.
Uh-huh.
These young people are incredibly bright and incredibly just gifted in the amount of things that they've done. But I think that a lot of it really comes down to hard work and trying to stay well rounded. I think it's really easy to get focused in on one thing and then you only learn about that thing. And we really do want people who are well rounded and kind of have a breadth of knowledge, and that I think helps as you're coming into medicine. I think if there is an interest in medicine, that doing some shadowing or finding someone who knows what it takes to get in and what you're and kind of learning what you're getting yourself into, I think is a really important piece, because I think that it's not as glamorous as it looks like on TV. My background is blurred because my office is such a disaster with stuff everywhere that I didn't want you guys to see that. And so it's not always as glamorous as it is, as it's portrayed, or as even I make it sound to be. I love doing it, but I think that it's really important to find what you love and then chase that, because if you don't love it, it's not going to be worth it, the sacrifices that you make and the amount of time and effort that you put in. So regardless of whether you choose medicine or you choose to be a chef or you choose to be an artist or a musician or an athlete, whatever those things are, you got to really really love what you do, because regardless of what it is, it's going to take a whole lot of effort and a whole lot of sacrifice to get where you want to be.
That's great advice. That's great advice for everybody for life.
Yeah. I
So,
always think that people who go into medicine, I when I was growing up and people said don't go into medicine for money, doctors are well compensated, and I think that everybody knows that. But I think that if you truly do choose something like this because you want to make money, it's probably going to end up that you're unhappy, because the amount of work and time even that goes into it is really not worth it unless you truly love it.
Right, definitely. So, well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.